everybody. Welcome to Utena Cast 2.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I'm actually following up on the previous one, so that's cool. Today we're going to talk about the second story arc of Revolutionary Girl Utena, the Black Rose Saga. And this is a warning in case you haven't seen any of Utena yet. There will be spoilers for the entire series, not just this story arc. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the last podcast, but I put that in the text description. So hopefully nobody got super spoiled by the whole series, because we're going to talk about the whole series. But we're just focusing on this. We're doing this by story arcs to make it more simple to organize or whatever. Anyway, we'll also be organizing this by duels, because that's where the story revolves around, even though I hate them. Anyway, so the Black Rose Saga is the second story. Oh yeah, I have a guest again. Forgot to introduce her.
Hello.
Hey.
It's Caitlin again.
Yeah, it's Caitlin again. Remember her? Anyway, she's the one that hates doggone wrestling.
Hey, I never said I hated it.
You have to say you like it. Say you like it.
I like Doggone Wrestling.
Everyone watch Doggone Wrestling.
You should watch it.
Everyone watch Doggone Wrestling.
Self-promotion.
Right. That's it for the Utena Cast. See you next time. Anyway, Black Rose Saga. Okay, so the Black Rose Saga starts off with introduction to a few new characters, mainly Akio, who showed up in the recap episode of the first story that I did not watch, which is really important apparently.
My fault.
It's okay. It's fine. So who is Akio?
Akio is Anthony's brother, who is filling in as the chairman of the school.
Yep. His name is, I guess because he's chairman, he takes on the name Otori. I guess, right? Unless it was a coincidence, his last name is already Otori. Otori. Because they call him Akio Otori.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Maybe that's some Japanese thing. Anyway, and he has this fiance.
Yes.
And her name is Kanae. Tell me about. Wait, I misspelled that name. Tell me about Kanae.
She is engaged to Akio. And you meet her right off the bat. She's very likable, very pretty. Not much. And then
Pretty much.
She's
very pretty much. She's very pretty much.
That's pretty much her character is when you first enter. It's like, Akio is normal. He has a fiance. They seem perfectly happy together.
She doesn't really have much of a character because she only shows up in like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And this is like the first episode she shows up in. She didn't show up till way later. But Akio's a big deal here because we talked about his role in the story before, but he's been active even in the first season, even though he's not on screen, because he's planning all this weird stuff to revolutionize the world and regain the power of Dios or whatever. And then Utena becomes aware of him because, what's her name? Anthe is going off to see him every weekend or whatever.
Yeah, so Utena is always wondering where Anthe wanders off to, and Choo Choo is left behind still.
I never understood how. So does Anthe go missing a lot? Is that something that happens?
She has to have time to
But I never noticed her really go missing before.
They started alluding to her being gone every Saturday, at least.
Yeah, in this episode. But what about other episodes? Did they ever mention that before either? Because Anthe is busy.
They've never mentioned it.
Okay, because she's always busy in this story arc of being someone else.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if I don't remember if she was missing in other episodes either, but she'd be busy doing that.
Well, you always see her kind of wandering off and going off. I don't know, she goes off with the Mickey episode.
Which Mickey?
Mickey, where he starts falling.
Oh, the piano one.
She goes off, starts playing the piano.
Uh-huh.
It seems she goes off by herself when she's up to no good.
Okay.
Or implanting some.
Probably. I never really noticed it until this until I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
that's why you rewatch this series.
Yeah, but I didn't pay attention to Anthe going missing every once in a while because I just started paying attention to it at the end of this second story arc.
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically, Kanae meets Utena and Anthe or whatever because something or another. They go visit Akio in his stupid little observatory.
And I think to note another thing about Kanane, like, she seems very at first she seems very happy meeting Utena, and she seems very happy meeting Anthe, and that she wants everything to be peaceful and uplifting in her life, which leads us to
what?
Her story.
Okay, so this story arc has this building called the Nemuro Memorial Hall, which hosts a seminar, which I didn't know what that was at first. I thought it was like a group meeting or something, but apparently it's just like a psychotherapy session or something where you... In this case what?
In this case, that's what the seminar is.
Yeah. So people go to the Nemuro Hall or whatever, and they have an appointment to speak to someone like a psychologist type person and tell them about their problems. And Kanai does this. She goes to the seminar, Mikage. It's run by a student named Soji Mikage, who suspiciously looks like a boy Utena. That's what I called him for the longest time, was boy Utena, because he has pink hair and like a dark school uniform, and I don't know.
I have to admit something.
What?
I did not make that connection.
Really?
I was like, oh, he has pink hair because it's anime.
All right.
It's an anime boy.
Fine,
I'm glad that you saw that.
Let's talk about these characters, because they're introduced in this story in this episode too. Let's talk about Mikage and Mamiya. So yeah, there's these two people, Mikage and Mamiya, and they're like sort of like parallels to Anthe and Utena, because Mamiya is purple haired and dark skinned, just like Utena. Just like Anthe. Too many freaking characters. Anyway, it's boy Anthe and boy Utena. That's all you have to know. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to replace Mikage, at least, is trying to replace Anthe with Mamiya as the new Rose Bride, even though Mamiya is a boy. And he always keeps saying, I'm a boy. And Mikage's like, no, you'd be better as a bride. Or something like that. I don't know. There's some weird stuff going on. We'll get into that later. But, so Mamiya is cultivating these black roses, and you don't know really what they are for until you get to until Kanai's appointment at the Mikage seminar, which she divulges her inner feelings or whatever. And what are inner feelings, Caitlin?
Her inner feelings?
Yeah, you know.
Well, what I find interesting, so she goes into the room and he asks her these questions, and she's holding a picture of Akio and Anthe, and she starts going through her hatred towards Anthe. And so what it first comes down to is that Kanai, I think. Kanai.
I think.
She gives a scarf to Anthe because she wants to make peace with Anthe, obviously, because she loves Akio.
Yeah, that's how you make peace. Give him a scarf.
Well, she wanted... To me, I saw it as a peace offering in the sense that, okay, like, Akio and her are really close brother and sister, so she was like, I want to be friends with your sister. While Anthe acts like she doesn't really understand what the scarf is for and uses it to clean her glasses.
Yes.
And she's like, how could she not know that it is a scarf? Like, she did this on purpose. It was a passive-aggressive move towards me.
Which is really silly to think that, but I guess some people's minds are messed up or whatever, and they think that has a hostile gesture or whatever.
So she really saw it as... And she goes into, like, all she does is smile at me, but I know that she hates me, and... I don't know, she has these pent-up, like, anger about how Anthe feels about her.
Do you think Kanai is for just projecting onto Anthe? Like, maybe Kanai actually just hates Anthe for no... Because Anthe doesn't really do anything but smile and wipe her glasses. That's not really a really good reason to hate somebody.
That's what I didn't think. I was like, well, maybe Anthe's just kind of ditzy. Because that's how they kind of make her Anthe appear.
It's Kanai's insecurities or whatever manifesting in a hatred of Anthe. But
yet again, in some sense... Maybe Kanai knew kind of what was going. Maybe she sensed it. Maybe she had that intuition of like behind those smiles of Anthe. Anthe hates me.
And also, like, Kanae says that everything was fine until that girl, which I think is Anthe, has visited us. And at the end of these episodes, you see Anthe meeting Akio in some less than normal sibling relationship stuff.
Yeah.
And so maybe Kanae knows that's going on too. So she's putting all this because Anthe is threatening Kanae's relationship with Akio, and that's probably why Kanae hates Anthe so much. Everyone hates Anthe. Apparently.
I think Kanae too finds it so important, surface level, that everyone is in harmony. And that's Anthe's disrupting the harmony that could be for her life.
Anyway, so what happens here is when the elevator, all these interviews take place in the elevator, weirdly enough. And inside after the elevator stops, and
what does he say?
Wait, you do it.
Go deeper.
Yes,
go deeper.
As the person who is admitting, confessing their inner thoughts or whatever to whoever is they're supposed to be talking to at the seminar, Mikage says, deeper, go deeper, and it progressively gets more crazy and creepy inside the elevator. There's a picture of a butterfly which devolves over time to symbolize something. I don't know.
So it goes from, it starts with a butterfly on the surface, and when he says go deeper, it becomes, the cocoon, and it starts going backwards.
And it becomes a leaf for some reason. Maybe those are eggs on a leaf, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, the elevator stops at the bottom of the shaft or whatever, and then Mikage suddenly appears in the elevator, and he's all like, "Oh, that's what you're worried about, huh? Well, your only option is to revolutionize the world." He didn't say it like that. He says it in a more sinister manner, but he says that, and then Kanae is freaking all out. So, what are you doing? What are you talking about? And then Mamiya's like, "Yo, check this rose out. It's cool." And wait, what happened? Whatever. It doesn't matter the order of events, but Mikage pulls out a ring with a rose seal on it from a I guess a coffin-like thing it supposedly contains a dead body, because apparently the Nemuro Memorial Hall was the site of 100 deaths from 100 boys when the building burned down or whatever. So he removes a ring from the coffin and says, and the difference between these rings and the ones that Utena and the student council wears is that they're black. And do you remember the reason why they're black?
I thought because they used the black rose.
I think it's because something about the rose bearer dies, or the seal bearer dies or something, it becomes black or something like that. Anyway, he puts this ring on Kanae, tells him to revolutionize the world. Then Mamiya takes his black rose, which is purple, not really black, whatever, takes his black rose and stabs it into Mamiya's heart, and I guess this supposedly...
Wait, Mamiya's heart?
No, Kanae's heart. Yeah. Too many names. Too many Japanese names. Confusing. Anyway, stabs it into her heart, and this, I guess, activates her to... It makes her an agent of the Black Rose. Takes over her mind, basically, by taking advantage of her vulnerabilities in her psyche or whatever. And takes on the mission of the Black Rose, which is to kill Anthe and replace her with Mamiya as the Rose Bride. So... Utena gets, whenever this happens, Utena gets an invitation in her locker. What does it say? Because my subtitles never translate what the letter says. What does it say?
I would have to go back and look at that. But it always says to the engaged.
Okay.
To Anthe.
Oh, that's what it meant by engaged. I'm an idiot.
To the engaged, which is...
Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. I never made that connection before.
And then the Shadow Girls show up.
Yeah.
When she gets that.
The Shadow Girls have returned from their UFO or whatever, which I never saw them get in the UFO because you told me to skip the episode. Anyway, they returned from their UFO, and now they're at school, I guess, doing their little plays near Utena's locker. And Utena always has to end each play by talking, which makes her very rude. So anyway, so Utena, every time she gets a letter in her locker, that means to go to the dueling arena. She goes to the dueling arena and finds Kanae there, and she's like, "Whoa, why are you fighting me?" or whatever. And Kanae is like, "I'm gonna kill the Rose Bride because I hate Anthe," or whatever. Oh, whatever.
They always have some reason to kill Anthe.
The reason to kill Anthe for the most part, is the same. It's because the Black Rose wants it. But
they convince Kanane wants to kill the Rosebud because she blames Anthe
Well, yeah, because Kanane actually has legit reason, legit beef with Anthe. Some of the other duelists don't really have a beef with Anthe, but they still want to kill her. So, whatever, this is a dumb fight. Who cares?
No, it's not a dumb fight. Can we describe?
You can describe.
Can we describe the differences?
Okay, yeah.
Because I find this, even though you may not like the duels, but there's significant changes between each story arc. This one has all the desks that represents all the dead boys.
Yeah, there are 100 desks that represent 100 boys.
And then there's always something placed on the desk.
Yes.
Which I don't remember for this one.
I think it's probably the picture or something. I don't know.
Or is it the scarf?
I don't know. Something stupid. Whatever.
You can comment and let us know.
I remember some of the other ones. The Kanai doesn't really matter because she's dumb.
So, anyways, they always have something placed on the desk that's significant to why the Black Rose duelist is fighting. Something that plays a part in all this animosity.
Sure. And
anyway, so it's on the desk.
And also, there's all these dead body markers in the ground, like Persona 4.
That represents the dead boys.
I assume there are 100 of them. I didn't count. Anyway, so there's dumb duel.
And then the desk end up.
After the Black Rose duelist loses, the desks move by themselves into a square, like Minecraft or something. And
I thought it was really. I really like that part. I like the symbolism.
What does it mean? I don't know what it means. Tell me. What are the desks moving together after the Black Rose duelist loses? What does that mean?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It looks cool, though. This is
why I like this show, because you could watch this show, I feel like, 100 times and still find something new.
I'm sure there are multiple theories on the Otori fan forums on the internet, or Angel Fire, or whatever.
Angel Fire?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I didn't really look up all that stuff because it's all over the place. Anyway, so Utena wins the duel by doing a Dante Stinger from Devil May Cry, by tapping into the power of Dios or whatever through her sword, and her face transformed to Dios. It's like a Michael Jackson music video or something or whatever. Her face transforms into Dios.
Great description.
Anyway, she does a stinger and removes the Black Rose. Oh, the dueling rules are still the same. You don't kill the other person. You just cut the rose or whatever, and then they lose.
Yep.
And then after you cut the rose, the ring falls off. Disintegrates off the Black Rose duelist, and then that's it. And then nothing really changes in the school.
And they seem to go back to normal. Yeah, they forget everything that's happened to them. They don't really
seem to remember being the Black Rose duelist or fighting them. Utena remembers, but she doesn't seem to care. She doesn't go to Akio and say, "Hey, Akio, did you know your fiance was all crazy trying to kill me?" But I guess the excuse is that they don't want to worry Akio because
exactly. That's what I feel like her excuse is.
Anthe tells. There's a button right there, right behind that. Anthe tells Utena that not to tell Akio about the whole Rose Bride thing because it might worry him, and Utena just like, okay, sure. So they don't really, they don't do anything with the Black Rose duelists after they fight them. So they just let them go on their merry way. Don't tell them or anything. So they don't really seem to worry about them. Anyway, I have a few questions about what's going on here. So this in this episode, it happens before the Black Rose Circle, or whatever they're called, develops the process or whatever of removing a sword from someone's heart. So where does Kanae get that sword? Is she a fencer too?
I thought so. Since you know how you have the rose seal, all the duelists, like the normal ones, I guess, off of the student council, have their own. I think it's the same way they're getting that power from the Black Rose.
What do you mean? What does that do with sword?
I thought that's what you were talking about. Like, where does she get the sword?
Where does she get the sword? Yeah, where does she get it?
I don't know where the rest of the duelists get their swords.
Because they're fencers. They're in the fencing club.
So then they probably get it too.
So she just happens to have a sword.
I think they give it to her. I think Mommy, like, being a part of that Black Rose seal, they get a sword with it.
No, she's the only one that does, though, because the rest, all their Black Rose duelists remove it from the heart of someone they're connected to. which is literally their sword.
I think it was just like, here's a package deal. Or they probably didn't think about it.
Kanae just got a sword out of nowhere.
Package deal.
Because you would think...
join the Black Rose Society.
I guess, whatever.
You also get a sword.
Yeah, but everyone gets a different sword. Kanae's sword sucked. It doesn't matter, I guess.
And,
What?
What happens at the end of the duels in the Black Rose Salt? Do you remember, like, seeing the coffin and where it is?
Right. So Mikage throws something into the coffin and just ejects it into fire, and it burns.
And it burns up like that.
And there's smoke comes from the Nemuro Memorial Hall.
That soul or essence of whatever that one of the guys that died in the fire.
Is that what's happening?
To me, it's like connected with them getting their power. They're connecting it with whoever died. So there's like one.
I don't know about that.
That's what I saw it as.
Okay, but I don't know.
Is that somehow they're getting the power from whoever died in that fire, and it's like they pull that body out, get the rose seal.
Okay.
And then it's like, oh, that didn't work.
That doesn't really work for the next duelists. All the other duelists. It might work for Kanae because she doesn't really have...
But they do that every single time.
I know they do that every time, but that's not where they get their power. Anyway, it probably means something. The body being burned of the one of the 100 boys.
Somehow it's connected with the duelist that's fighting.
And then
Mikage
is all pissed because he needs to fight Utena. He needs to find better duelists to fight Utena. Anyway, at the very end of this episode, you see Anthe going to Akio, who has really bad posture on his stupid couch. He sits all dumb, and then and Anthe comes in to this darkened observatory, places her glasses on a table, and Akio's like, "Come here." And then she walks slowly towards Akio, and then, we don't know what happens. I didn't know what happens. I didn't assume that they had a relationship of that kind when I first saw it. Yeah, I didn't assume that was what they were doing. I thought, they could be doing anything. Come here, let's play Mario Kart. That's what they could have been doing.
That's really what you thought?
No, it's a possibility. I didn't jump straight to sex.
Oh, I did. Because this is the whole thing.
That's because your brain is wired that way.
Because the whole show is very sexual elements.
I didn't know that at first. Because this is when I was.
How did you not sense that there was a lot of sexual elements in this show?
I sense that could have been a possibility, but I didn't say jump straight to that. That's exactly what's happening.
Oh, that's what I jumped straight.
Not to mention that this is when I actually started paying attention to the story of the series. Because I didn't.
That's when you started liking the series.
Yes, because all this stuff got really dark all of a sudden. Because there are like a bunch of dead bodies everywhere. It's crazy. Anyway. That's basically all I want to say about Utena versus Kanae, because Kanae is kind of a nothing character. I'm sure there's something in there that explains more. There's probably more to her character, but I didn't really get any of it.
Well, she was important because of later
She never shows up ever again until like the next story arc.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's it.
But that's just kind of how the show goes. Like,
for some characters, but there are, some characters keep going, keep showing up.
So she's a side character.
She's a side character.
Not a main
She's not even a side character. She's a side character. Side character would be like Kozoe and Shiori, because they show up again multiple times. Kanae shows up like one more time. And there's even a side character, which we'll get to. Anyway, anything else you want to add to this episode? Think we covered everything?
That's pretty much it.
All right. We'll move on to the next one.
Hey, I see a question here. What was Utena doing with those leaves?
So, this is really important to me. I don't know about anyone else. Before Anthe leaves to see her brother and have sex with him or whatever, Utena is playing with she's sorting leaves. I don't know what she's doing. They look like pea pods or something. I don't know what she's doing. She's moving them from one side of a desk to the other side of the desk. She's not opening them or anything. She's not doing anything, just moving them to the other side. What is she doing there? If you know what she's doing there, please let me know.
I thought it was something with some Japanese food.
Is this some weird Japanese cultural thing or something? Or is she just high on drugs? Or what? Is she just bored? Is this what kids do? Is this what middle schoolers do when they're bored? They sort leaves? And Choo-Choo's just sitting there doing like whatever. Who cares? Maybe he's just doing it to entertain Choo-Choo. I don't know. This is the biggest mystery of Revolutionary Girl Utena, and I want to know the answer to this. So if you know, leave a comment. it, email me, look me up on Twitter, send it to bpapas or whatever, and let me know what Utena was doing those leaves. Anyway, moving on. What?
I think that's the most amusing thing you get out of this show. Sorry. Let's move on.
Okay, moving on. Whoa, we're on a different track. Anyway, let's see. Next episode is Utena versus Kozue. I don't know the title of this episode, but I'm just organizing it by duels because that's easiest anyway. So, we opened this episode with the Black Rose Council, or whatever they're calling it, and they have a new plan because their other plan was kind of stupid because she got a sword from nowhere, so they want better swords. So, they come up with this, Mamiya comes up with this thing to grant, they know the powers of the student council because they fought Utena before, so they want their duelists to gain the power of the student council members by removing swords from their hearts, and which the hearts are manifested from the student council members' desire to defeat Utena Tenjo. So even if the Black Rose duelist doesn't want to fight, the sword makes them want to fight because the student council members sucked. All of them except Toga were not able to defeat Utena. So this is basically the student council members' second chance. They're just not aware of it. So let's see. Soji finds student council members weak because they've already lost to Utena. So he wants to make better versions of them. So in order for someone to take a sword, it's a physical, literal sword from the heart. I guess it's also the physical, literal heart, as well as the
They look like they were in pain when
metaphorical
happened.
heart. Yeah. In order for someone to remove the sword from the heart of the student council members, the sword bearer must have a hold on their hearts in order to take the sword, which I'm not exactly sure what that means. It probably means some kind of, connection to them.
I think it's like a connection, like within, like an emotional connection.
Yeah, emotional connection to that, which
to that person.
It works for most instances, not all of them. We'll get to that when we get to that.
Someone's being a critic.
Anyway, so the next Black Rose duelist turns out to be Kozue, which is it Mickey's sister, right? Yes, it's Mickey's sister remember that back in the day, that episode in the first one.
Recap with her, Mickey's twin sister, and
she sucks at playing music.
She also has a brother complex.
The only thing Kozue did in the last story was make out with Toga. That's basically all she did.
And just make her brother mad.
And not play piano very good back when they were kids. Anyway, she's back here, and she seems to be a prime target for the Black Rose Circle because of her connection to Mickey. Anyway, let's see what my outline says. Okay, so Kozue knows her reputation hurts Mickey, which her reputation is being what?
Promiscuous.
Yes. She's always making it with dudes and having multiple boyfriends.
She's not shy about it.
Yeah, she has multiple boyfriends, and her friends love it. It's like, oh, I want to have multiple boyfriends too. She's like,
that's so cool.
And she's like, that's cool, yeah, whatever.
Adolescence.
It's really dumb. And she's only 13 years old. It doesn't make any sense. Japan's weird. Anyway, would this happen?
Anime.
You're a teacher. Do 13-year-olds have multiple boyfriends at your school?
I don't know these things. I don't work with the middle. I work with the elementary.
Anyway, so Kozue has a bad reputation, and she does it on purpose because she knows it hurts Mickey. And why does she do this? Why do you think she does this?
Wait, to get back at Mickey?
Because
she loves. I mean, so she has a brother complex. We learned that in the first story arc, and so she uses her.
Is this the one with milkshakes, or is the other one with milkshakes? This is the one with milkshakes.
This is the one with milkshakes. So anyway, and she felt like her brother hurt her in the past, and to me, they're kind of just two completely different people in some aspects. He strives to be a perfectionist, at the piano and fencing, and his academics seem the most important. And her, it seems more of her relationships and social circles seem to be her.
Her what?
Her priority.
Her priority?
Yeah, Kozue.
No, Mickey is her priority.
But no, that's what it seems.
Okay.
Okay? Like, they seem like two different people. Kozue, though, deep down does love Mickey very much.
In a really destructive way.
And so she thinks, and so I see it as, so you'll typically see this, especially like with adolescents or even elementary, kind of that negative attention. Like, if they don't get that positive attention from the people that they love, then they're going to use negative attention. So how she has found out, okay, I can get at Mickey and have him worry about me, or something similar. Okay, I'm going to be promiscuous.
Yes, she wants to monopolize Mickey's attention by having a bad reputation. Basically, Mickey can't think of anything else except how bad her sister is.
Yeah, and so she's like, well, at least I'm on his mind.
Yeah, always on his mind because she's in a bad way.
Yeah.
It's really weird because a lot of these characters have the same motivation. She's kind of like Nanami in a way, but Nanami
does it in a different way.
I get
she's just a different personality.
Nanami's weird. She's the best character. Anyway.
She has social anxiety.
So, in my notes here, it says Kozue is worried that Mickey is starting to care more about Anthy than her, which is, it's true, because Mickey's in love with Anthy because, oddly enough, because of her piano playing, which reminds him of his sister, which is really weird, but Kozue doesn't know that. If she knew that, she'd probably be super happy if she knew that. Anyway,
everyone has issues.
Similar to Nanami, Kozue is extremely jealous that people will get close to her brother, to the point where she pushes Mickey's music teacher down the stairs for. There are many reasons why she might have done this.
So during this scene, it kind of insinuates that his music teacher was hitting on him.
Yes.
And so Kozue saw that and wanted to protect
him. And also, even if it wasn't that, she still wouldn't want him near him because he had his attention. Because she wants Mickey to only pay attention to her.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I thought it was kind of endearing, though.
When I first saw the music teacher, I didn't really think. The only thing that made me think pedophile was his mustache. That's the only thing I saw.
What I thought is that when he put his hand on Mickey and was like, hey, we should get together.
And Mickey was just laughing. Yeah, that's great.
And Mickey's so innocent and doesn't realize what people are up to.
Yeah, he is pretty ignorant. He didn't even know his sister couldn't play a piano. Anyway, regardless of whether or not his music teacher was a pedophile or whatever, doesn't matter because he gets got either way. Because Kozue pushes him down the stairs and threatens him. Anyway, what the hell? Oh, this is my notes are different than my later ones. So let's talk about Kozue's seminar at the Mikage, whatever.
How does she end up knowing about the seminar?
How does anyone know about the seminar?
I forgot.
It's just a thing. It's a thing people know about. It probably has flyers in the union or whatever of the school.
Anyway, somehow she gets to the seminar.
She has an appointment at the seminar. She comes in. She literally says she has an appointment. I'm sure Kanae did the same way. She goes into the elevator and starts talking about her problems. What are her problems, Caitlin?
Her problems. This one I actually don't remember much of.
It's pretty much all about Mickey. She admits to the reason that she has the reputation she has is because of she wants to monopolize Mickey's attention. She was like in that Anthy. She starts blaming Anthy. Yeah, this is another instance of the Black Rose duelist having an actual beef problem with Anthy, because Kozue wants to go to Anthy because Anthy is taking some of Mickey's attention away from her. And she says, Kozue says, I have a quote written here, says, "I want everything to disappear. Mickey and I are the only things worthy of existence." So Mickey is the only thing that Kozue actually cares about. So she thinks that everything is she thinks everyone else is beneath. She's willing to destroy everything just to keep Mickey to herself. Anyway.
And that's an interesting point. Not just but she just sees that, not that she's just in love with him, but just everyone else is beneath her. Mm-hmm. That she wants. And how I find that interesting is you'll kind of see that with couples. I feel like sometimes is that they only find themselves very important.
Okay.
Nobody else.
But they don't do it. Oh, maybe some couples do. Like, you're taking piano lessons, I'm going to push that guy downstairs.
Yeah.
Take piano lessons from me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Have you seen that happen in real life?
Also, Mickey makes milkshakes for bedtime, I guess.
Yet again, there's something symbolic with the milkshakes.
Which...
At first, she didn't want a milkshake.
Now she wants milkshakes.
At the beginning, and then...
The whole milkshake thing is weird because I just think of that song about milkshakes, which is like a euphemism for like blowjobs or something.
Really?
Something like that.
But that was later on.
Are you sure? Maybe it came from Utena.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
She watched it.
So, anyway.
Okay, we were getting sidetracked.
Okay, this is where the Black Rose gets their cool new thing, their cool new technology or whatever, where Kozue is able to pull the sword from Mickey's heart. Like, literally pull a sword out of Mickey's body, out of his chest, and it's Mickey's sword. It's a sword he used to fight Utena. I don't know how it got in his heart, whatever. It's metaphorical, whatever.
Yep.
And because of this, because not every duelist is going to be a fencer. So what this does is, because they're holding that person's sword and their heart, they also gain the ability of the person that they pulled the sword from. Mm-hmm. So Utena comments that Kozue fights just like Mickey, because she even says she has Mickey's sword or whatever, I think. Anyway.
And what ends up being on the desk?
Oh, milkshakes. There are milkshakes on those desks. Great. More milkshakes. They all come to the yard. They all come to the dueling arena.
I'm not quite sure what the milkshakes
The milkshakes bring all the people to the dueling arena. Anyway, guess what? Utena does Stinger and defeats Kozue.
Surprise.
And that's the episode, I guess. At the end, at the end, I don't know what changes. The only thing that changes is Kozue wants milkshakes now. Their relationship is still messed up, but anyway. And later on, Mickey is aware that he had a sword pulled out from him. I don't know if he knows it was Kozue that did it. Do you know?
I thought they all knew that that's...
Okay.
Other people were pulling it.
Yeah, but did he know that it was Kozue specifically? Because they...
thought so.
Okay, sure. I don't know.
Nothing is confirmed in that, but I just assume that they all knew these weird things were happening.
So the Black Rose duelist is not aware of their involvement in any of these dueling games, but the student council is. Right. Anyway, other stuff that happens in this episode. Nanami is the new leader of the student council. She's the best.
Because why?
Because Toga is recovering from the stupid injury that Saionji gave him or whatever.
And I thought he was like depressed too.
Is he?
I thought there was a point where
he's probably not really depressed. He's probably pretending to be depressed.
Yeah, see, I really thought he was depressed, and I was like, no, he's been in the background.
It's all... Because Nanami says they no longer receive letters from the end of the world. Because Akio is, letting the Black Rose Council do their thing. Because I assume just to create duelists to fight Utena. Anyway, and, considering how close Toga and Akio are, Toga probably already knows this. He probably knows that...
He knows what's going on.
Yeah, so he's probably staying away from school just because of that.
He's probably letting else play out.
Yeah,
it's his turn.
I'm sure Toga is aware of knows what Akio's plan is. So basically...
You find out in the later episode.
So basically, Akio has abandoned the student council for now, is letting the Black Rose Council do whatever they want. Because the whole saga is named after them, after all.
The thing is what I find clever about the Black Rose Saga is that you think that is completely separate. Like, they're against End of the World.
Who is?
The Black Rose.
Okay.
Like, you think that is just like a entity.
Because
like, at this point.
Yeah.
Because I thought that I was like, oh, now there's another like antagonist, or like,
yeah, they're trying to kill Anthony and replace her as the Rose Fighter.
It's like, and then the end of the world, and so then you're like, oh my gosh, like now we have two. What's going on?
Yeah, and the student council didn't know what's going on because they don't get any letters anymore.
Knows what's going on.
Nanami's in charge now. Nanami's in charge.
You didn't think Toga. You thought, oh man, Toga's really depressed.
I didn't think that. I forgot all about him, to be honest.
I did. I was like, oh, he's depressed. Like, man.
You fell right into his traps.
I did. I would have been manipulated.
Anyway, also that's important is in this episode, Utena starts hanging out with Akio.
Yeah, they start getting to know each other because she loves Anthe.
Yeah, like
he loves Akio.
He even like tries to. He tells Akio that Mickey is into Anthe because Utena is trying to play matchmaker and hook them up together, and it's not really working. Whatever. But
it's kind of cute.
And Akio's still doing mysterious stuff with Anthe. Anyway.
Well, and I find later on too, like, so it's just like starts out as something innocent between Utena and Akio, like. To me, almost like he's kind of like her big brother, you know? Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Like,
because Utena never had siblings.
And so she starts seeing him almost as a big brother or a mentor, and starts confiding in him.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the Kozue saga, milkshake saga, whatever it's called. Anything else you want to say about this 13-year-old Kozue? Your microphone.
At the end, she accepts the milkshake.
Caitlin, move your microphone back up to your mouth.
At the end, she accepts the milkshake, which I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it has something important.
It means they better not be lactose intolerant or whatever. I don't like drinking milk for going to bed because it makes me sick. Anyway, that's it. Who cares?
So good at this.
Kozue sucks, but she doesn't suck as the next character. Oh, wait, before we move on to the next character, let's talk about the next episode, which is really short. This episode, Nanami turns to a cow. Was this part of Akio's plan? Because the reason she turns into a cow is because she puts on a cowbell, which is addressed to Nanami, which in the end you find out is Anthe's pet cow, Nanami. She names all her animals after Nanami for some reason. So was this part of Akio's plan? No, because everything Anthe does at this point is because of Akio. So why did Akio want Nanami to turn into a cow? Or was it
I think this is an Anthe thing.
No, I have an idea.
What?
This is a test for Utena. Because throughout this episode, Utena is a huge jerk. For some reason, she cares so much about Nanami wearing this cowbell. Even though it doesn't bother Nanami at all, it bothers the hell out of Utena. She's like, you don't know it's a cowbell? Take that thing off. Like, who cares, Utena? Let Nanami do what she wants. But no, Utena is not having it. She refuses.
See, no, I don't even see. I see Utena caring for her.
Why?
Because she doesn't. Because everyone's making fun of Nanami for wearing this ridiculous cowbell. And Utena's the only one brave enough to be like, Nanami, that's a cowbell. Like, everyone's making fun of you. Like,
that's not what she says.
No,
she says
that it's ridiculous.
She says, Nanami, that's weird. That she literally says that. Like, it's making Utena uncomfortable.
She's making her realize what's going. I see it as Utena caring about her because everyone else is probably snickering behind Nanami's back about her cowbell.
Well, you know, people do that about Nanami anyway. She's a huge bitch.
I know, and Utena's the only one brave enough to call it to Nanami's
or
face.
it just bothers Utena so much she has to just like, oh, your cowbells.
I think it's because she cares about her, and at the end, she like rescues her, kind of. When she turns into a cow and has to.
All right, let's discuss this for a little bit.
Why?
Do you think she literally turns into a cow?
I don't know.
I don't think so. She does not turn into a cow. It's just some weird.
I thought it was just a filler episode.
It is a filler episode.
I don't know. I'm not going to try to figure that out.
No, I don't think she. It's just.
I'm not going to figure that.
It's probably a reflection of something, Nanami's vainness or whatever. You know. Anyway, she doesn't turn into a cow.
I think it has something to do with her vainness.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, she doesn't turn into a cow.
I think she does.
Until the movie. Anyway, that's it for this episode.
The movie's great.
We're going to stop this and we'll move on to the next character. We're back with Utena Cast 2. We finished talking about Nanami turning into a cow and that Kozui lady. So now let's move on to Caitlin's favorite character.
What? Why do you assume this is my favorite character?
I don't know.
Because he's an elementary student?
Because you talk about... Wait a minute. No, you skipped it.
Oh, I was going...
Look at the outline.
I jumped straight to Mitsuru.
No. We're talking about...
Oh, Shiori.
Yes.
My favorite.
See? It is your favorite character.
Well, my favorite story.
Anyway. Shiori's a huge bitch. The end. All right. And then moving on.
That should be the end.
No. Okay. We talked about Shiori a lot in the last podcast.
I think she has a great voice actress, by the way.
It's okay. Let's talk about the Black Rose in this episode. So, the Black Rose, as I put in my notes, has suddenly become obsessed with thorns on roses. Even though I never saw a physical thorn on the rose that Mamiya has. Anyway, they start talking about how they want to make use of those thorns and talk about some parasitic poison for the roses. I don't know. It's all just a dumb metaphor for finding a duelist who's super aggressive, I guess, is what they were trying to do.
Well, if it says parasitic, right?
That could work too, I guess.
Someone that I think that matches up greatly with Shiori. Her personality is someone that just kind of infects other people.
Sure. I'm not a plantologist or whatever.
Well,
I don't know how roses work.
No, you don't have to be. So, a parasite. A parasite.
Yeah, I know what a parasite is.
Okay, so you know what it is. Parasitic poison. Okay. So, they're trying to find someone that is...
Okay, I got it.
A parasite. And Shiori matches up with this very well.
Because these roses are basically infecting the hearts of the people they're trying to take the swords from. The parasite is basically Shiori, because she's infecting the heart of what's-her-face? Juri, right? Okay, so we talked about how shitty Shiori is in the previous podcast. So let's talk about Shiori here. She returns to the school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's back, and she encounters Juri or whatever, and...
Well, I mean, she returned last time.
Did she?
Yeah.
Was that episode? No, this is the one where she asked... She asked Juri about the locket, right? And this one, did she ask her about the locket in the last one, too?
No, she didn't.
All right, so this one, Shiori confronts Juri, and is she trying to apologize or something? I don't know. What's she trying to do?
This one, I think they actually expose... So, in the first story arc, they kind of start blending together, admittedly. In the first story arc, they're like, Juri has some hang-up with Shiori. Go through that. At the end, Juri, you find out in the locket, is Shiori.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Juri's in love with Shiori.
But Shiori doesn't know that until this episode.
Yes, correct. And so, she finds... Basically, what happens is Shiori finds the locket... Because she's trying to be friends at this point with Juri again, trying to make peace. Is
she, though? Is she really?
I mean, I think she's doing it yet again. A parasite is that she doesn't have any friends at this point.
Is that true?
She's new.
She has friends at the end of the episode.
And I think Shiori's she's constantly playing games, and she's trying to one-up other people because she's just super insecure bitch. Excuse my language. So that's the kind of girl Shiori is. And I think she's probably seeing, okay, being friends with Juri again is beneficial because Juri's very popular.
Uh-huh.
Juri's ahead of the fencing team, which is a very
prestigious,
praised position within the school. Only the best can be the fencing captain. And so I think...
Mickey. Anyway, keep going.
Thanks for interrupting. No, it's okay. So I think just Shiori is just playing all these little mind games and being like, oh, I'm so sorry, Juri.
Well, either way.
Friends again. And then later on, the locket ends up being...
Wait, hold on.
What?
Now Juri's trying to fight back. She throws away the locket, but...
Yeah, so...
Okay, Juri throws the locket into, a lake or something, water. She throws it in the water. And then, due to the shenanigans of the Black Rose Council, somehow the locket finds its way inside Shiori's dorm.
And I always wonder who put it there.
It was Mikage. It had to be Mikage. Or Akio. One of them. Probably Mikage, because he sneaks in people's dorms all the time. As we know from the episode with Wakaba. It was probably Mikage. So... Shiori finds the locket, finally looks inside, and finds out it's her inside the locket, not the other guy. which who cares about him? He's one of those side he's a side character. He doesn't even show up in the present day story. Anyway, so Shiori finally has power over Juri. She knows she has power over Juri. She originally had power over Juri, but she didn't know that. Because Shiori was like super jealous all the time because she wanted to one up Juri all the time. Mm-hmm. So Shiori goes to the seminar, right? Mm-hmm. And you find out she's 15 years old because that's what it says on her stupid application or whatever. And she talks about what she felt about Juri all this time, how much she was jealous of her or whatever. Mm-hmm. And now she has power over Juri now. Even then, she's still not satisfied because she's still not satisfied with the fact that Juri kept this from Shiori. So she's still feeling vulnerable because of that. Anyway, anything to add to that? Mm-mm. Okay, so what makes Shiori different from the other Black Rose duelists? Remember, this is the parasitic poison that creates the thorns or whatever, right? Did you notice this difference?
I see a difference in each Black Rose duelist and the issues that they have are unique.
Well, here, this is where I think the thorns come from, is Shiori genuinely wants to hurt Juri. You know? Like Kozue wanted to hurt Miki only because they wanted to be closer together. Mm-hmm. Kane, they had nothing to do with anything because they didn't figure out the technology to take out swords at the hearts yet. So Shiori has a place in Juri's heart, but she doesn't really deserve it, And okay, let's look at my notes here. She now knows she has power over Juri with the locket, yet still expresses insecurity at the seminar about why Juri was never upfront about her feelings. This is the first of the Black Rose duelists that does not really care about Anthe at all. She has no reason to want to kill Anthe.
She doesn't. She just wants to hurt Juri.
Yes.
And she's happy that she found somebody, found a way to hurt her.
Yes. So this probably makes her a more vicious opponent, which I think is what they were talking about at the beginning with the thorns on the rose. Mm. That's what I thought.
Good call.
Okay. So, yeah. So Shiori wants to hurt Juri, whatever. And guess what? Utena beats her. Great. And what's on the desk? Do you remember?
Was it the locket?
Probably. I don't know. Milkshakes again.
Milkshake. And this was actually one of my favorite interviews.
Really?
With Shiori. Because you just see her actual evil come out.
Yeah.
Like, she tries to cover it up. She tries her best to cover up really what she's like underneath.
Yeah, she's all freaking out, like, I finally have it. But she still freaks out. She still freaks out at the end.
But she's still insecure.
Yes, because Juri
will always be better.
Not only that, she literally says it's because she doesn't... Why did she always hide this from me? So maybe there is some deep down caring for Juri in there or whatever. But who cares? Juri's a bitch. Doesn't matter. Utena does a stinger, kills the rose on her breast or whatever, and then she loses. Great. Mm-hmm. Big deal. At the end, Shiori and Juri, what is the relationship after that?
Shiori, I just remember you see Shiori just gossiping with the other girls about a guy or something.
But Juri knows Shiori knows now.
And Juri just ignores her.
This is why I don't like the end of these episodes where they don't follow up on this stuff.
I saw it as a follow-up that you see kind of what's happening. So Shiori ends up making friends. Obviously, Juri and Shiori aren't friends again, and Juri just ignores it. She doesn't really move on. She just ignores it, and Shiori's off gossiping with friends and not trying to actually be friends with
Does Juri still have the locket at the end?
Yes.
So there you go. She still couldn't let go of Shiori. So sucks for her. And I think she even acknowledges it in the later episode.
It's one of those things where it's like some people never let go of something. They just bury it deep within.
Well, that sucks. Sorry, Juri. You're in love with a bitch. Anyway.
Find a better girl.
Anything else you want to talk about before we move on to my other stuff?
I really like the end. It's always stuck out to me. It's like...
And being what?
Maybe this was it. I can't remember if it's this one or the next one. Where Utena anyway. Says, like, oh, like, Shiori seems to move or something. And Anthy's like, Ari has insight. The part where you actually see Anthy having more of a personality.
I don't remember that at all.
So where she's like, no, like Anthy says something to the sense of like, no, that's what it appears like. But she really hasn't. Oh, yeah, because they're like, oh, Shiori forgot about all what happened. She's really not like that. And Anthy's like, no, I don't think she's
Oh, yes, I remember that now.
Like, she's still the same. Basically, yes. Anthy hints that she's still the same, and you're like, first of all, I'm shocked that Anthy said anything, because she never...
Well, she knows.
But Anthy, you start seeing, like, the insights Anthy has to everyone.
Well, yeah, she knows, and maybe saying that to Utena is just to inform her, yes, these are exactly what they're feeling. Because she knows of her future duels with other people that are close to her.
Yes.
Anyway, anything else before I move on to other stuff?
No.
Alright, so other stuff. In this episode, Nanami finally questions Mickey about the stopwatch thing, but Mickey dodges the question. Nanami is the sanest person on the show.
I know.
She notices Mickey's weird tick, and then questions him about it, and he dodges it.
And didn't she ask him too? When was the episode she asked him? It's like, so what did it feel like getting the sword? And he like turns bright red, and I was like, is this another sexual like?
Probably.
Reference?
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't.
But, you know.
What did it feel like?
It's just to show you that the student council knows what's happening to them when they're getting swords taken out of their hearts or whatever. And Utena is starting to confide in Akio, telling him about how much Shiori sucks. So now she's gossiping with Akio, basically. They're getting closer.
Confiding.
Sure.
Confiding.
But they're still talking about how much a bitch Shiori is.
Well, if it's fact, is it really gossip?
Oh my gosh. You're a teacher. You're not allowed to say stuff like that. Anyway.
I'm an ENFP. I can say it all.
Yeah, I'm a QZ XR. Anyway, moving on to the next episode. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, let's go.
Go.
Welcome back to the Utena Cast 2. It's been almost a month since the last recording.
Hey, don't blame me for being a busy teacher.
I'm not saying anything. Anyway, so if we repeat things we might have talked about before, I'm sorry. Anyway, so next up... Did you press the button? Okay. Next on the list is, we talked about Shiori already. Now we're going on to the next Black Rose duelist, and that would be Mitsuru. I don't know his last name. Remember his last name?
No.
All right. Who is Mitsuru? Caitlin, explain to me who Mitsuru is. Don't just read off the outline.
Oh, no, I wasn't planning to. Okay. Mitsuru is... He's a guy that's very enthralled with... He's in the elementary school, I think 4th or 5th grade.
Yeah, he was introduced in the first story.
Yeah, and he wanted to be Namine's like big brother because essentially he's in love with her. And so now he's back again in the Black Rose Saga. Mm-hmm. And he is still after... He's actually Namine's like servant?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what Mitsuru did in the first season, or story, because we didn't talk about him back in the first podcast. So... There was an episode where someone's trying to kill Nanami, right? And it was like a mystery. We don't know who's trying to kill Nanami. And there's Mitsuru, the elementary school kid, saves Nanami from something. I forget what it was, maybe a bull or something. Mm-hmm. And then he becomes her assistant or servant or whatever. But if at the end of the episode you find out the person trying to kill Nanami was Mitsuru
because he wanted to save her.
Yeah, he wanted to save her, and because you know why? Do you remember why he wanted to save her?
So
he wanted to be like Toga,
and be
because back in the day when Mitsuru was a little sandbox boy playing in the sandbox in his little cute school uniform, whatever, and his dumb hat. He saw, I don't know, Nanami almost got hit by a car or something. I don't remember what it was. And Toga saves her, and he says, I want to be just like that guy. When in the end, it's pretty ironic that Mitsuru is actually a lot more like Toga than he thinks he is, because the whole like purposely putting Nanami in danger and being like really manipulative of her is exactly something Toga would do in the first place.
Huh.
So he actually is a lot like Toga, even though he doesn't know it.
I never saw it like that.
It's true though. Anyway, so Mitsuru is back because, in the Black Rose Saga, they bring back characters from the previous story and expand on their character. And let's see, what is Mitsuru's problem in this episode?
In this episode?
In this Black Rose Saga.
Oh,
episode.
He wants to be a grown-up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been thinking about it, and he has this, I guess, friend that happens to be a girl, like, tells him that, you can't be grown up. Why are you following Namine around?
Oh, yeah. Her name is Mari, apparently.
And so he starts watching all these adult films.
Oh, adult films.
He watches romantic films, and he sees all these couples kissing, and he gets the idea in his mind to be a grown-up is that you need to have kissed someone. So he tries to kiss Mari, which doesn't pan out very well. But what's funny is Namine catches Mari and Mitsuru together, and then she actually gets jealous of Mari.
Well, before all this, the reason that Mitsuru is watching all these films and trying to be like an adult is because a piece of advice that Utena gives him.
Oh, yeah.
Where Mitsuru asks Utena, how do you become an adult? And Utena says, I guess you do adult things. And I think it's really funny that he's asking a middle schooler, how do you be an adult? And again, just like everything else, Utena is the reason for all this. She gives bad advice, and I don't know, whatever.
I just don't think she knows what to tell him.
She doesn't know what to tell him.
She's a middle schooler.
She should just say, I don't know what to tell you. But no, she just pretends to know what she's talking about and causes Mitsuru to try and be an adult through kissing people.
I think he's a bit confused. I feel like he would have just done it on his... no matter if anyone gave him any sort of advice, I think he would just done what he wanted to do.
Utena is bad at helping people. She tries, but she's not good at it.
Stop dissing Utena.
I am dissing on her in a way. She's the main character. She can take it. She's very strong. So let's see. Nanami gets jealous of Mari somehow. I don't know. Like at the Nanami says about her relationship with Mitsuru, saying, you don't have to be a grown-up. I like you the way that you are. And
I actually liked that part because it showed a little bit of, like, sympathy.
For who?
Like, for Mitsuru.
From who?
From Namine.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, you see her as this obnoxious, spoiled girl, and then all of a sudden you see this glimmer of her. She actually cares about Mitsuru, even if it's not a romantic way. She's apparently still cares for his well-being and how he feels about himself.
Because throughout this series, especially this episode, basically she's using Mitsuru to do all her work for her. And, Mitsuru just goes along with it because he wants to be with Nanami or whatever. Mm-hmm. So even though it seems like she doesn't care, she cares.
Yeah.
But Mitsuru still wants to be an adult, so he goes to have a session at the Mikage seminar, which is basically just, like the entire series, just like a whole allegory for going through puberty.
Yeah.
Because he becomes increasingly more aggressive and violent inside the seminar. And let's see, what do my notes say? He keeps saying he wants to wreck it all. And the Shadow Girls segment for this episode is the Shadow Girls talking about their proof of adulthood, which I forgot exactly what it was in this episode.
I'm sure, but they said, I'm an adult now.
Yeah, it's probably like, I can ride a bike or something. I don't know what it was. So yeah, Mitsuru goes through puberty inside the Mikage seminar, basically. And he pulls not just one sword but two swords from Nanami's heart because Nanami has two swords.
Yes.
And with that, he gains Nanami's murderous power because, as we saw in the duel with Nanami that Utena had, Nanami is like surprisingly strong and surprisingly skilled with a sword. Because
she's bad. I guess she takes after her brother.
Yeah, she says, "I watched my brother," and I guess that's how it works. If you watch someone enough, you become good at what they're doing too, I guess. Okay, so Mitsuru in this duel, he says this quote, which I don't know what it means. He says, "You must defeat those ahead of you to become an adult yourself." What does that mean, Caitlin? What do you think that means, Caitlin?
I feel like since he's taking from Nami's like murderous power, maybe he's kind of taking on her like competitiveness throughout the series. This is my guess. That those around him, he has to take out to further himself.
But what does that do with having to be an adult? I can tell you my answer.
I think it's because when you grow older, sometimes maybe in your sense that you think competing and becoming better than everyone else.
It's not.
And having the power, like being the strongest, essentially, to him, that's what he thought becoming adult was becoming the most experienced and the most powerful.
Okay. I'll give you my answer.
Okay.
It's not sometimes competitiveness comes into it. That's being an adult. As I've learned in my crappy life, everything is competitive when you're an adult. So, I guess, I guess maybe I identify with Suru here in some way. I identify with this elementary school kid.
And that's the whole premise of the series, if you look at it. I mean, how is Utena gaining the power, like furthering herself throughout the series? Well, she's having to duel and compete.
Does that make her more of an adult, though? Because to Mitsuru it does.
So far, what we've talked about in the series, obviously it's going towards something.
Okay.
As we see.
Okay.
As we know right now. Within this point of the series.
All right. So anyway, who's gonna beat Mitsuru? Whatever, who cares? And then Mitsuru goes back to being Nanami's servant or whatever, and Nanami apparently sees Mitsuru in a different way somehow for some reason, because you can see her blushing about hanging out with him or whatever. I don't really understand what that meant.
And so at first I was grossed out, but then I realized he's in 4th or 5th grade, and she's in what grade?
She's in middle school. It's probably like 6 or 7 or something like that.
So really not that big of an age difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially once they graduate, both of them graduate, and then who cares how old they are? If whatever. But, she's in love with her brother. It doesn't really matter. That's even worse, to be honest. Let's see. All right, that's Mitsuru. I don't remember anything else about him. Who cares? He's a little kid. Here's my problem with kids in anime, is they never act like children. And you work with children all the time, right? So you should know how a child acts.
Yes.
I don't think there are any Mitsurus in your class.
I don't know. I mean, there's some I'm not saying, just like Mitsuru, I think he tries to act like an adult.
Exactly.
And there are kids that try to act like adults, but he doesn't really know what it means to be an adult.
Well, yeah, that's part of this story.
And so I would have to say, not all of them, but I would say there's some. Even I have my students, how young they are. They act very mature.
Even though this is part of the story, they still don't. The writing, Mitsuru is not written like a kid. He's not written like a child. And none of them are, because Utena's a middle schooler. They're in high school. None of them are written like high school kids.
They all look like they're in college.
Yeah, basically. So that's one of my problems with anime in general, is all the characters are young people, but they don't act like young people. It's all up to this 13-year-old girl to save the world. That didn't happen. That's not how kids act.
But it's anime.
I know, and that's why I hate it. That's why I hate it. Like in Persona 4, there is a 7-year-old, I don't know how old Nanako is, but she's a young kid, and she acts like a kid, and I like that. I hate it when kids they don't act like kids.
Here's JR going on his rant why he never watches anime.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're just doing a podcast about anime.
Like even like Danganronpa, they don't act like high schoolers. It's stupid. I think Japan is ageist. They don't like having older people in their animes.
No,
or black people.
Not.
Or any minorities.
They need to have a teacher.
They're all teenagers forever. Anyway, I'll end that rant there. All right, let's move on to. Oh my gosh, I have so many notes about this.
I know. Yeah.
Let's talk about Wakaba.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we didn't talk about Wakaba in the first one because we were waiting for the Black Rose Saga to talk about Wakaba. Let's talk about Wakaba in the first story. Tell me about Wakaba, Caitlin.
Wakaba, Utena's best friend. She's actually one of the first characters introduced.
Mm-hmm.
In the first episode, she calls Utena her prince. They seem to have a comical friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Wakaba's always been very, like, I would say easygoing, free-loving. She doesn't seem to be the serious type, and doesn't. As far as we know, relief. She didn't really have a lot of ties to the story. She's the one that actually ends up getting her feelings hurt, and Utena defends her. But then you really don't. You see her every now.
Wait, what are you talking about now? Are you talking about this story now?
The previous Wakaba.
Her getting her feelings hurt. Oh, from Saionji. Is that what you're talking about? Okay, I didn't understand what you're talking about first.
Okay. Yeah, from Saionji. Saionji was a jerk. Big surprise.
Yeah, she writes a love letter to Saionji, and Saionji posts it in public space, and everyone can read it and embarrasses her.
And that's actually what got Utena into these duels.
Was it?
Was that she defended Wakaba first, her best friend.
Got her to fight.
And you see Wakaba, like, in and out, but you've never seen her within...
She's never really played a big role in the story.
Yeah, in the duels,
She's
at
least. She's a background character. Like, she never got an episode like, Mitsuru did or whatever. Mm-hmm. She was she was basically comedy relief.
Yeah.
And now, in this episode, or these 2 episodes, Wakaba gets her own story. So apparently Wakaba, in this story, when she was younger, she had a prince in, I don't know, kindergarten or something. Mm-hmm. Do they have kindergarten in Japan? I don't know. And they called him the Onion Prince, or she called him the Onion Prince, right? Yeah. I forget why. I don't remember why. Because like Wakaba's head's an onion or something. Is that what it was?
Yeah, they always said, like, joked about her, like, forehead looking like an onion.
And then this guy would always stand up for her or whatever. Is that what happened? Is that the story?
But then it flashes back, and she was like, "He's my Onion Prince," and in the replay of it, you would just see him going, Yeah. So you actually never see him defending her. But maybe how she interprets it.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. She saw him, which his name is Tatsuya, apparently. She saw Tatsuya as her Onion Prince, and he never saw it that way. At least not at the beginning. Yeah. By the end of this story, Tatsuya, we were introduced to Tatsuya because Tatsuya goes up to Utena and gives her a love letter or whatever. Because I bet Utena gets like 1 million love letters because she's very popular. But and then Wakaba notices that this dude is her Onion Prince from back in the day, and she says to Utena, "No, don't bother with him. He's a womanizer or a playboy or something. I don't know. Whatever." Wakaba does not want Utena going out with this guy, and Utena doesn't really care anymore.
And it just appears Wakaba is very jealous.
Yeah. At the very end of the story, even though Tatsuya at the beginning does not want to be the Onion Prince, at the end of the story he does want to be the Onion Prince, because he ends up, I don't know, falling for her or whatever, right?
Well, no. What ends up happening is the reason he gives the love letter to Utena is that he was too scared to approach Wakaba, and then underneath it was a facade, essentially. And then in the end, he admits to Wakaba, like, "No, I was really after you. I've just been too afraid to admit my feelings." All right. And then we think Wakaba's gonna.
All right, so
return that.
This is getting to a point I'm trying to think of.
Okay.
So like at the end of this, so Tatsuya wants to be Wakaba's prince, correct?
Correct.
But ends up not happening because Utena says to Wakaba, go. Hold on. No, Utena says Tatsuya, go talk to the person or whatever you like or whatever, and then Tatsuya encourages Wakaba to confront her prince, and he thinks he's the prince.
Mm-hmm.
But nope, turns out no, Tatsuya is not the prince. He wants to be the prince, but no, he's not good enough to be her prince.
Table flip.
So like, this is like a recurring theme. I wrote this down. I don't remember why I wrote this down, but people wanting to be someone's prince but not being good enough. Like it happens with, what's the blue-haired guy's name again? Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
It happens with Mickey and Anthe. And
Unrequited love.
like it's all this it's all this prince imagery though. It's always being a prince. You want to be someone's prince, but you're never good enough to be that one's prince. I forget why I wrote this, but it's something I thought of. It's been so long.
Well, we talked about it earlier, how within... I'm looking at the overview. This is just how my mind works. I look at the overview of everything, and so throughout this adolescent-themed series, you have a lot of unrequited love, and you would have to say that happens in a lot of adolescence years, is that everyone is trying to meet everyone else's approval, and it never seems to be quite good enough. Okay. And then you see this being played out within the series. Mm-hmm. This is how I interpret it, is that what you're constantly seeing throughout Revolutionary Girl Utena. But like you were saying, there's this prince theme. You see it, there's this prince theme going on, that everyone wants to be someone else's prince, but they can never match up to it. Okay.
So like I wrote down here that during one of Akio and Utena's little sessions or whatever, they talk about... I paraphrase this. I wrote this down as a paraphrase. Someone's trash is another person's prince. And that seems to be another prevailing theme here, is it's difficult to perceive what someone means to someone else. Because, like, this whole episode is misleading, purposely misleading you. It's misleading you to think that Tatsuya is Wakaba's prince. Mm-hmm. But no, it's not. And even Utena thinks that. And, like, we have trouble perceiving what other people desire. And it turns out that Wakaba's prince is actually Sayonji, who has been living with Wakaba this entire time. Like, let's see.
Such a good episode.
I wrote this down somewhere. Damn it, Mitsuru, go away. So yeah, even though Wakaba is talking about her onion prince and all this stuff, like Sayonji's been living there this entire time throughout this entire episode. That's already been living with her. So like, that's the prince that Wakaba's talking about the entire episode. Even though we're led to believe it's Tatsuya, it's not. Gosh, I really wish I remembered why I wrote all this stuff. But yeah, that's like a prevailing theme. Is like, it goes on to like this whole I think this person's their prince, but it's not really. It's like at the beginning we're led to believe that maybe Toga could be Utena's prince, but not really. And at the end, we're thinking Akio might be her prince, but not really. Like,
misconceptions?
I guess I had specific examples for this, but I didn't write them down, so I don't remember what they were. So, and I guess the same thing happens with Juri and Shiori, because you're led to believe the guy is her prince, but no, it's Shiori. And Shiori's not good enough or whatever, even though Shiori doesn't want it. There's so much stuff happening in this series, I don't remember any of it.
This is why you watch it 50...
This is why I make more specific notes whenever I take these notes. Let's see. Alright, so in the next episode, we find out, we get the perspective of Sayonji living with Wakaba, right? So, why exactly does Wakaba like Sayonji so much? Do you think about that? Why? Because he's such a jerk.
I'm thinking about, well, yet again, he's a jerk, but so many girls like him. Mm-hmm. Like, Wakaba, but like, in this sense, it seems mean. She seems one of the, she is one of the many girls.
But she also hates Toga, and Toga's very popular, too. So what makes Saionji better than Toga in this case?
Maybe she sees something in Saionji she doesn't see in Toga.
Do you know what that is? Or can you speculate to see as to what that is?
I would say Saionji you see more authenticity. Like, he's going to say what's on... He's a little bit more blunt and rooted to what's going on, in the sense that Toga is going to tell you what you want to hear. Like, Toga's going to go ahead and flirt with every single girl around him and tell the girls what they want to hear and make them feel special. And to me, Saionji just existed, and
like the way,
for whatever reason, him being good at fencing got the girl. I don't know.
Oh, athletes or whatever, jocks or whatever, get very popular among.
I would say he's
skilled,
very true to who he is.
Exactly, in his relationship with Anthe, he never tried to hide how terrible a person he was.
Not at all. So, and he said that's who he was after.
So maybe that's why Wakaba's into Saionji, because he's so honest, I guess.
And yet again, I think it's just one of those things where you end up, why did girls like all the popular guys? Because they're good looking. They seem like they're powerful, strong guys. Prince-like, I guess.
All right, so I'm an idiot because I passed over all my notes. I have all this crap on here. So I have a thing written about Choo-Choo being in love with Tatsuya, because it happens.
Oh, yeah, because Choo-Choo starts blushing.
So Choo-Choo is Tatsuya's prince. That's what I wrote down. And okay, let's talk about... we moved on to Saionji earlier, but I want to go back to Tatsuya for a bit.
Okay.
Because this is kind of sort of important and also really funny. When Tatsuya finds out that he is not the prince that Wakaba is referring to, he goes to make an appointment. He has no appointment at the Mikage seminar. He goes to Mikage seminar and goes in the elevator and talks about how much he loves Wakaba. He doesn't think that this prince that Wakaba is looking for is not going to treat her right or whatever. During his little rant or whatever, that everyone else has little breakdowns, or he's on his breakdown. In the middle of his little appointment, I guess, whatever, he says he loves Wakaba, and at that point, the elevator starts to go up instead of going down, because you see the little coffins or whatever. They move in the opposite. I have to rewatch this to make sure that it was actually going.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it goes in the opposite direction of the other ones.
What?
So the elevator goes back up the second he says that he loves Wakaba.
That's amazing. So he actually is making progress, which wasn't intended.
And like the butterfly does not devolve at all. And in the middle of this, Mikage shows up and says, quote, "You are truly a good person," and he doesn't belong there. And his heart is pure. All right? So here's the questions I had in my notes. Does this also mean that he is unfit to be a duelist because he does not have a hold on Wakaba's heart? Like...
Oh, yeah. Like, he couldn't have any...
influence on Wakaba.
And two, I was wondering... So, backing up to... Can I say something about Black Rose Saga? So, I'm so glad you brought that up. Because if you think about every time the Black Rose Saga, typically everybody has something hidden in their heart, like a darkness, resent, unforgiveness, unrequited love, the Mikage Center, like, it brings it out in people, and that Black Rose Saga latches on to that darkness within their hearts and uses that against them to verse Utena. Well, with him, and they said he's truly a good person, or has a pure heart. Well, they can't find anything to latch onto. They don't have a darkness to latch onto.
And what's even sadder about this is, like we said previously, they said in order to pull a sword from someone's heart, you have to have an influence on it. You have to have a hold on their heart. And because Wakaba doesn't think very much. I mean, maybe she had, because of the Onion Prince stuff, but because she's actually in love with somebody else. Like, maybe even if they gave him a black rose, he wouldn't be able to take a sword from Wakaba's heart, which is really sad.
You've been rejected.
So even though he says he's good in heart, he's also not good enough to be a duelist, which is really sad.
Well, she's not. Which I guess we can get into the fact that someone's value.
also, after this scene, he never shows up again. He dies, I guess, or whatever. He never shows up. He's never brought up again, ever.
He's hanging out with Mari.
Yeah, Mari died too, I guess.
He never shows up.
Gross. Anyway, yeah, so Itachi is dead. Alright, so let's go back to Wakaba and Saionji. Oh my gosh, my notes. I'm going to just read my notes so I can think about this.
Okay.
Wakaba hates Toga, and Wakaba is someone who Saionji would never have to fear about losing to Toga. Alright, so, here's why Wakaba and Saionji would make such a great couple, right? Because one of the reasons that Saionji is such an asshole is because he always has to live in Toga's shadow. He's never good enough to beat him. One of the reasons he kidnaps Anthy or whatever is because he thinks Toga will be able to take her from her because he can beat him in a duel or whatever. So Wakaba hates Toga. So Wakaba is someone that Saionji could never lose to Toga. And it's really, it's kind of tragic in a way because Saionji doesn't see it that way, but they might actually be good for each other because let's see, Saionji is, here's my notes again, is at Wakaba's mercy. He's in a submissive role, but he doesn't really seem to mind. He's living with Wakaba in her dorm, and he doesn't really complain about it or anything. He's just really grateful that Wakaba's doing this for him. He doesn't seem to regret that he's in the position he's in. Oh, no, I can't believe I have to live off this girl or whatever. He really appreciates all the help that Wakaba's giving him, right? Mm-hmm. And let's see. Saionji has some power. Again, my freaking thing died again. My outline died. Saionji has some power over Wakaba because she is in love with him, but Saionji doesn't abuse that power like he does with Anthy. Maybe he just doesn't realize that Wakaba's in love with him, but
he doesn't.
And still it's even if you're not in love with the person and she's giving you these sheep cups and letting you live with them.
The sheep cups.
And
you would think
he should know that he knows that Wakaba wrote that letter, or maybe he doesn't know that was Wakaba specifically, but he knows Wakaba's name. He knows who Wakaba is. It should be obvious that Wakaba is in love with him. And he has that. He could totally abuse Wakaba like he does Anthy, but he does not.
Because he's at her mercy.
Yeah, and he doesn't.
Because she could kick him out at any time.
Yeah, but he doesn't he's not being manipulative of her. I'm going to pretend to be nice to her or whatever, so she doesn't kick me out. He's oh, thank you, Wakaba. Thank you.
No, I felt like he was being pretty manipulative.
How?
He was basically playing these puppy dog eyes, so she could. So.
He never. No,
he could stay at her dorm.
He doesn't. It never seemed to me that he was acting. That was what he genuinely felt.
I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
Because
I'm gonna let you go on your rant.
he thanks Wakaba, makes her that little leaf thing. He did all this stuff for Wakaba, even though he doesn't realize that Wakaba has feelings.
But I think he sees her as a friend.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And he's not using Wakaba in any way. The Saionji we know up to this point is just as bad as Toga. Mm-hmm. But he's not. But
we see a different
Wakaba.
side of him.
Yeah, exactly. He's not an asshole when it comes to Wakaba.
But Saionji would never be with someone like Wakaba.
What do you mean?
So Wakaba, she's almost in a different, he's gotten to know her as a friend, which mm-hmm. is, I never figured would happen. But Saionji will always, yet again, the reoccurring theme throughout this series is Saionji wants someone else that's almost basically unattainable to him. Mm-hmm. That he feels he has to try to have power over, which is Anthy.
Oh, that's another thing. One of the reasons I think that Saionji might be aware of Wakaba's feelings for him is because he hesitates to ask about Anthy when it comes to Wakaba. And that, triggers Wakaba's mind, oh, I hate Anthy because mm-hmm. she's standing in the way of me and Saionji or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I think it's
I don't know.
All these relationships in...
I feel like he's just playing the pathetic poor old me so he can get Wakaba so he can see her in a dorm. No, that's...
I don't think so.
I don't know. But then I think he gets to know Wakaba and it actually becomes appreciative of her.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't think he's acting at all.
I don't know.
Because like he begs her and cries. He literally cries, and even at the end, which when he get finally, because Mikage says he can bring him back to school by just giving him that hair clip he made for her. He didn't think that's a big deal.
But to her it was, because he's in love with her.
Again, that's another thing about Akio said. You can never judge. You don't know how other people feel, how other people value things. Like he didn't understand how much value.
Oh yeah, like what she found important.
Yeah, exactly.
And yet again, and that will happen, is because he sees her as a friend. Like, oh, I appreciate what you did for me, bro, basically, but. In her mind, she's so in love with him, so every little thing, like with lovers, like every little something like a prized possession, like, you know, that flower leaf thing for her hair he made, like that was a big deal to her because it was something meaningful and it was from him. And to him, he was just like, oh, I'll just like get you another one, like. Because
this is what Saionji values. He's very vain, or what do you call it? That's the kind of thing that Saionji values. It's expensive, pretty things. And he thinks, oh, because I appreciate it, Wakaba will appreciate it too.
Oh, well, I was just saying, like, but he was like, oh, I'll just make you another one.
Oh, he says, I'm going to buy you something really expensive.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he says. Because that's how Saionji would show his appreciation. Again, he's not putting up a front for Wakaba.
Yeah, I think it's that one thing where he doesn't feel the same way as she does.
It's true. I think this is a recurring thing again. Like, it's really tragic how some people who work great for each other, especially in the series, they never end up together. They're always looking for someone who's not good for them, especially with like Juri and Shiori or Mickey and Anthy and all that stuff, and Saionji and Anthy. Like, Wakaba makes Saionji a better person, and Saionji makes Wakaba a better person. Because while Saionji is living with Wakaba, she's getting better grades, she's doing better in sports.
She's starting to feel good about herself.
Exactly. She has so much self-confidence because Saionji's with her. And they would be so good together, because they're so good for each other. Because
that's not how it works.
I know. That's why it's sad.
I love it.
Anyway, so... What are my notes? Blah, blah, blah. Alright, so the whole thing about Wakaba is now that she has Saionji living with him, she sees herself as special. What does that mean? She says, now I'm special as long as I have this secret. Why is that special? Why is it being secret? Being a secret make it special? I don't get it.
Yet again, okay, so you see this kind of, I think it goes back to Akio and Utena when they were talking, like, this may sound really sad and you can disagree with how you feel about Wakaba, but like they talk about Wakaba just being one of the many.
Who's they?
Akio talks about...
Okay,
so Wakaba is one of the faces in the crowd. Mm-hmm. Like, she's plain. It's plain looking.
She has onion face, though.
Makes average grades. Average, ordinary, nothing special. Utena, special. She has pink hair. You know, she's very athletic, very popular, very noble, prince-like. And so when then Wakaba gets to be with someone like Saionji, who's one of the popular guys, very good looking, part of student council, a duelist. I think with this secret that she's like, I get to care for Saionji, I get to care for someone that's elite.
Why is it?
That it's her secret. I don't know if you understand, like, I think that's what she prizes, is that it's like lover, it's like just between them. And so that she gets to share that secret, gets to share something intimate with Saionji, even it's just him staying in her dorm room. Okay. That is so special to her. And so then she has that confidence where she's like, so she takes her value from that.
Okay, so if it wasn't a secret, how do you think she would feel about it then? Would it still seek? Would it still?
I don't think it would
her
be
better
as
grades, get better grades, or would it improve her character still, or is it no?
I don't think it would be as
Why?
much. She values the secret.
Okay.
She values the intimacy of it.
Okay.
Because to me, intimacy is something that is kept secret just between that friendship or that relationship of whatever you're in. So she has that now. She gets to be the one to care for Saionji, nobody else.
Okay. So this whole special thing plays a major role in this story.
Okay.
It's one of the reasons why she becomes a Black Rose duelist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because quote from her during the duel, it says, gosh darn it, I lost it. Where the hell did it go? Special people trample us into the dust. What does she mean by special people? Because I know Akio calls Utena someone special.
Well, what I said earlier.
What do you mean?
I told you why Utena was. She's obviously gorgeous, highly athletic, noble-hearted. Gets to be the one with the Rose Bride.
I'm just hung up on this word special.
Do you not see it?
Let's see what?
What they're talking about, special people, are the gorgeous people, the people that are elite, the ones in the student council, the popular ones.
Okay, but she calls herself special because she has.
She gets to have that secret with Saionji. Yes, that's what she feels like.
But that doesn't make you popular or elite.
To her, it does.
Okay. Man, I really wish I knew what I was writing when I wrote this stuff. So, okay, maybe you can figure this out. I wrote, does it mean special to, as in you are special to someone?
I think that's what she feels like makes her special, is that secret in that relationship she has with Saionji is making her special. Because she's taking her value, how she perceives it, her value from her friendship with Saionji.
Okay. Anyway, also, we should mention that the whole reason she's a duelist is because she wants to kill Anthe, because Anthe is getting in the way.
Yep.
Or, theoretically, in her mind...
Everyone wants to kill Anthe.
Not everyone. She already didn't care about Anthe. Well, she had to kill Anthe because the Black Rose told her to, but she didn't care about Anthe that much. Neither of it is true. But, yeah, she has a legit problem with Anthe because she sees Anthe as an obstacle in the way of her relationship with Saionji. Also here, Akio at the end of the episode says, the time someone can be special doesn't last very long. I don't get it. What does that mean?
So, he's talking about somebody... He says something earlier, too, that when someone ordinary, I guess Wakaba is, quote, ordinary, finds someone else, like a love or something.
Someone
like,
special to them? Is that what you're talking about?
That made her special. That made her have good grades. But then Akio is right. It only lasted a certain amount of time, probably because he knew what was going on in the background. And it did. Saionji went away, the secret went away, she was alone again, and everything, she just went back to being...
She still has Utena.
Utena's best friend.
Anyway,
people need to stop taking their value in other people. That's what needs to be happening here.
Okay, in my notes I wrote, at first I thought special had something to do with being a main character. Is that still true? All Black Rose duelists were side characters. Becoming duelists and getting involved with the Rose Seal makes them special.
No.
I have no idea what I was thinking when I wrote that.
I understand what you were writing.
Okay, what was I? Why did I think that?
That she stopped being a side character for that one moment and actually had her own duel.
Because, it's under the whole Akio thing, the time someone can be special doesn't last very long.
Yeah, you were connecting her time as the Black Rose duelist with her being a special person.
Is that valid or no? Because all these characters...
To me, you can make that a connection. I thought they just the Black Rose duelists took that opportunity, took that weakness of Wakaba and used it. I guess you can. I saw it as she took her value out of from Saionji, and that's the only time she felt confident in herself. And then, of course, Saionji didn't feel the same way, so then when he went away and that secret went away, she was like, oh, I'm an ordinary person now.
Like, all this is being set up by Akio. So all this is orchestrated by Akio.
Oh, yeah.
So he knew that Saionji was going to go live with Wakaba. Akio. And he knew that Mikage was going to ask for the hair clip, which would, and then Mikage gave the hair clip to Anthy, and then that spurred on Wakaba to become a duelist. Right?
Yep.
So the whole being special thing, well, it probably has something to do with Akio. I don't know.
I mean, Akio is orchestrating this, but also I think the series, even without Akio, is trying to communicate something of adolescence.
Well, yeah, that's the entire thing.
Because, okay, maybe I pulled too much of, like, back my own experiences, like, or what people have told me. Like, I know people that have been in relationships where they've, like, been with, quote, the guy of their dreams or the girl of their dreams, and they have felt, I've seen that, like, glow in them. Like, they felt so confident and they felt so good about themselves.
But it was a secret.
Well, am I talking about Wakaba?
I don't know anymore.
I'm talking about my previous...
I'm just mad. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore because I forgot what my mind was thinking.
I'm just saying how I see this, okay?
I'm trying to remember how I saw it originally, and I don't remember how I saw it originally.
Okay.
I tried to make sense of my notes.
But you just see them feel special, and then it goes away. Like, they break up or something happens, and then they feel ordinary again.
And they go back to being side characters?
Or die. Or go away and never show up again.
No, all the
Wakaba shows up though.
All the duelists show up again, except for. Are we done with talking about Wakaba? I can't think of anything else because I can't.
You're angry, and you're gonna think about it right after this podcast.
Well, I can just insert it later because that's the magic of computers. I probably won't remember why I wrote any of this crap. Anyway, can we move on?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to my probably the least favorite episode of this entire saga.
Which one?
This is the Keiko story, Utena versus Keiko.
That's promised to
episode
be good
sucks.
Forever.
This episode is garbage.
Oh, they just wanted Toga back again.
Let's just read all my notes here. Okay, Keiko.
I'm just gonna read through it. We're not gonna even talk about this.
Well, if you think of something, or if I think of something, we'll talk about it. Keiko and her two friends promise to be together forever. Nanami takes advantage of Keiko, much like Mitsuru. Keiko gets too close to Toga. Nanami kicks her out of the group. Keiko's friends also abandoned her, even though they promised, blah, blah. In Keiko's stand-up seminar, let's see. She admits she only hung out with Nanami to get closer to Toga. She hates Nanami for monopolizing her and flaunting her relationship with Toga. Keiko takes the sword from Toga. How? Does that mean that she has a hold on his heart?
I thought every girl had a hold on Toga's heart.
Toga probably doesn't really care about anyone.
Toga gets around.
Yeah, but he probably doesn't care about them anyway.
Toga cares about himself.
Here's my theory. It's because of the umbrella. He was walking around the forest in a school uniform, even though he doesn't go to school anymore. He's walking around the forest in his uniform, and it's raining. He doesn't have an umbrella. Keiko's there and lets her use this umbrella, and maybe that's why she has a hold on his heart, because of the umbrella.
Okay, also another thing. Yet again, Toga and Akio
are in cahoots.
So maybe, because to me, like, I watched that episode again, and you talking about this, I'm like, I bet Toga just, like, was like, okay, take the sword, so we can play this out.
So we can power up Utena some more.
Yeah, because I feel like
we're gonna feed Keiko to Utena again.
It was just a weird episode. Like
it's a stupid episode.
It was weird. Also, they ate their Pocky.
It's
really
basically a way worse version of the Wakaba episodes. It's terrible. Let's see. What else was I saying? Toga's face never gets shown for some reason.
Yeah. See, I couldn't figure that out. Like, they seemed to just. I was like, is this a mirage? Like. You never heard him
I was thinking he might be like a monster come out of his face or something.
A zombie?
You never see his face. Maybe it's because like he's not really there because he's just going along with Akio's plan.
I think that's it.
Okay. In the duel, even Utena doesn't understand. She says, "I don't understand. Why do you have Toga's sword?" Utena says, "I don't even know her name." Utena doesn't even understand what's going. Like she never understands what's going on. But even she knows it's weird that she has Toga's sword because Toga wouldn't have feelings for anybody besides Utena, and maybe Akio.
Akio.
So
sure.
I don't think they knew what they were doing with this episode.
Utena didn't know what they were doing with this episode.
I wrote here, it feels like they just needed a Black Rose duelist for Toga. And they couldn't think of anything else.
Probably.
Like, it's just a garbage episode. Keiko doesn't matter at all. He never matters again after this either. She continues to show up at least, unlike Tatsuya and Mari.
I like Anthony's end quote.
Okay, let's see. She says, "If it's for someone you love, it doesn't matter. You keep lying to yourself until something probably means something, whatever." I don't know what the heck I was writing. Alright, that's enough of Keiko. This episode was garbage. Okay, let's move on to the last one, which is probably going to take a while to talk about.
Which one was... This is
the end of the story. This is the last 2 or 3 episodes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is going to take...
Alright, I'm going to stop it just in case something bad happens, okay?
Okay.
And we'll come back after I save.
Okay.
Alright, we're back. We're going to talk about this crap poop show. That is the character of Soji Mikage. It's just so confusing.
Arrows pointing to teacups.
I'm just going to go to my notes again. Here are a few of my notes.
I'm glad you took notes.
Nanami is the first person to come up with the idea that End of the World is managing the Black Rose, confirming that she's always the best and smartest character in the whole series. Though it turns out Mikage isn't aware that he's working or being assisted by End of the World. Because later Akio confronts Mikage and he says, "We just made a deal. I have no reason to obey your orders." Akio says, "That's been our contract for a long time." Whatever. Anyway, who is Soji Mikage, Caitlin?
Originally, Professor Nemuro. He was working on this project at the Otori Academy, and they were working on something to get eternity. They keep referring to having or gaining eternity, and it's very elusive because the employees, or I guess the researchers that are a part of it, seem to know more what's going on than Mikage does.
Yeah.
And they keep... And
or
they all...
Nemuro at the time.
Professor Nemuro.
Yeah, because so it's just Mikage is hella old, apparently. He's been around for a long-ass time. He used to be a professor at Otori working on this dumb project.
And you see these flashbacks, and I think the researchers start wearing duelist rings.
Yes, because the rings represent a contract with Akio. That's why. Let's see. Let's talk about Tokiko. Who is Tokiko? She's a very important character in these 2 episodes.
She ends up showing up because she's board of directors.
Yeah.
She wanted to check in what was going on and starts to get to know Professor
She wanted to inspect Nemuro's project on the Eternity or whatever. She has a brother who is terminally ill named Mamiya. And that may be one of the reasons she's trying to... that she's interested in Nemuro's project for Eternity. Which basically, whenever they see Eternity, I assume they're talking about immortality, right? Is that what they're talking about? Okay.
That's what, to have eternity, that's the only thing I can...
This is not how people talk. When people are working on a project for immortality, they don't speak all poetically and say, "Oh, we're trying to acquire eternity."
But what series are we watching?
In this thesis or whatever, in his documents, he doesn't write eternity everywhere. It's immortality, but they have to be all what do you call it? Obtuse. All obtuse about what their goal is. They're trying to find immortality. Gosh, they never say it. It's so obvious that's what they're trying to do, but they're trying to be all clever by not mentioning it. Whatever.
We're watching a surreal show.
It's frustrating.
Of course it's going to be like that.
Anyway, so What's important about Tokiko? Like, okay, in my notes, I say her house is really weird. Like, time seems... I'm not really sure what they're trying to get at here. Time, I mean, it has something to do with eternity.
Mm-hmm.
Time is warped in her where she lives. Because, like, when she invites Nemuro over for tea, she says her tea is too strong because the hourglass seems to be running slow. And she's trying to preserve the flowers in her garden. The snow does not melt in her garden. And there's also that framed butterfly that's in her house, which ends up being in the elevator at the Mikage seminar. And there's weird pointing hands at cats and stuff. I don't understand any of that stuff.
And then arrows pointing to the teacup with lipstick on it.
Like, what do you make? What do you make of any of this stuff?
Is this like something? Maybe she like drank it before, but then they're drinking it now. I don't know. Time is messed up there.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could get out of.
I've heard people talk about how the whole pointing at stuff is just a red herring. That they're just pointing. There's so much weird symbolism going on that they're just making fun of it by pointing at things that don't mean anything. Which I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that either.
So I think they mean something.
I think the good point is that time is running slow, because even the framed butterfly they point at, and if you notice, there's a framed butterfly in the little interview.
Yeah, that's what I said in the Mikage seminar. So. It devolves as they go descend the elevator. Anyway, and there's Tokiko's little brother Mamiya, who's terminally ill or whatever. He admires his sister's work as well as Nemuro's, and in a discussion with Mikage about the whole preserving rose, he questions whether the preserved roses actually want to last. So, even though, basically I think he's saying he wants to die. Okay,
and another point I would like to make, Mamiya, what does he look like when they first introduce him?
He has dark skin and purple hair, much like Anthony and Akio.
Yes. But Tokiko has light skin
and brown hair,
which
could be adopted.
I know, but it just seems a little odd, which is significant.
It's anime,
but significant later on.
I know it does. It means something later on, but while you're watching, you're thinking, "Oh, it's just anime."
Well, I'm just more like the Rose Bride. The Rose Bride? What? Another Rose Bride?
Well, at this point, I kept thinking that Utena and Mikage were already connected because they're, boy Utena, boy Anthe.
Yeah.
I was thinking at the time. You apparently never saw that.
So he's like the Rose Bride at this point or something. I don't know.
Anyway, let's see. So let's talk about the project that Mikage or Nemuro is working on. So all the boys, 100 boys who died there or whatever, they're all wearing rings. Mm-hmm. All the rose crest, whatever it's called, rose seal, I don't know what it's called. And Akio explains to Nemuro that the rings represent a contract with Akio. Mm-hmm. And Akio offers the same deal to Nemuro. And we don't know what that deal is. All Nemuro says is he can't do it. So I don't know exactly what it was. When Akio presents the deal, and I guess Nemuro might takes it or something, Akio says to Nemuro, "Your only option is to revolutionize the world. The path you must take has been prepared." Just like this is the exact same thing that Mikage says to all the Black Rose duelists. Mm-hmm. And right after Akio says this, Nemuro leaves his office and follows a coffin that one of the researchers is pushing around, and it leads to Akio making out with Tokiko. I don't really know what that means, but that's apparently the path that was prepared for him.
Akio makes out with everyone.
Yeah, but Nemuro doesn't know that. So what is Akio's contract with Nemuro? What do you think that is? I thought it might have to be him burning down the building. I'm not sure what.
And sacrificing.
Yes, the 100 boys or whatever.
And then I was becoming a duelist.
Okay, I wrote down, in some weird ghost scenes, the 100 boys talk about opening the dueling arena. So that got me thinking, was the project for eternity, was that creating the dueling games? Because they talk about a success.
That's what I thought it was.
When they opened the dueling arena.
There was nothing about, in the beginning, they all had the rose seal, and there wasn't talk about.
There were no dueling.
There was no dueling. and then this happens.
This was Nemuro's project, was the dueling games in order to achieve eternity, which I guess would also encompass Dios's power, I guess, right?
Correct.
So, and the boys talk about, in this little weird ghost scene where everyone's invisible and they're going to have a dinner party or whatever, they say that man plans to go on without Nemuro. When that man obviously is Akio. So it's obvious Akio is using Nemuro, and Nemuro's not aware of it. So, in the episode, the qualifications of the duelist, Mikage says those who desire eternity can enter the dueling arena. So... the Black Rose duelists fought to preserve their memories, change their lives according to the memories. And everyone seems to have met someone important in the path which changed their lives significantly. These are the things in common with all the duelists, the Black Rose duelists at least. And Mikage wants to make his memories eternal, which he's kind of doing a good job of it because he's still alive. And he's still the same age or whatever. So, let's see. Akio used Nemuro's living in his memories to his benefit. I don't really understand that. How did he do that?
Akio used Nemuro's living...
Is it just to power up Utena, maybe?
See...
Because after this is all over, he no longer needs Mikage.
It's almost like constantly all of this has been a test.
For who? For Mikage
Utena.
or Utena? Could be, or both.
Utena,
okay.
in the sense... Oh, Mikage? Or Professor...
Well, after he burns out the building, he's a Mikage.
I just see it as... Maybe I'm jumping ahead, is the end result Akio wants.
Is Utena.
Well, is eternity. Like...
Yeah.
To open the doors to eternity. And he can't seem to have done it, so he always uses these duelists. And it seems that constantly the duelists are having... He needs the ultimate duelist. The most powerful and noble, whatever the qualifications are for this. And yet again, Mikage or Professor Numero, he seems to be using, as like...
So this is all just
is she really strongest?
So this is all just to power up Utena? Is that basically what you're saying? Is that how Akio is using...
That's how Mikage? I see it, because I was like, why else would he, if he... And eventually he gets rid of his memories, I guess, which gets rid of him.
Well, okay, so in my notes I say Nemuro actually never achieved eternity because in reality, Mamiya still ended up dying, right? And everything in his memories was an illusion, probably instigated by Akio. Like he even sees, like he literally cannot let go of his memories. Like he even sees Utena as Tokiko, and the only thing that defeats Mikage is when Akio finally breaks the illusion, and when Mikage realizes that, oh, Mamiya died a long time ago. Like, that Mamiya I was talking to, that wasn't Mamiya. That was just apparently Anthe in disguise.
Yep.
I never understood that.
In disguise.
So once Akio breaks the illusion, Mikage can no longer live in his memories, I guess because they were false or something.
And then everyone
forgets about him.
It's like Akio has so much power over... It's like he's able to take memories and kind of like maneuver them how he wants.
It's true, because she does the same thing with Utena.
He's like, I can take this and overlay
it. It happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone has these memories that have some control over them. Like,
and it's like, and two, it seems like Professor or Mikage was unable to let go of what had happened to him.
Until Akio breaks the illusion.
Yeah.
By revealing who Mamiya actually was.
And yes, yet again, it seems like this whole, while we've been talking about this, is like perception. Like, what Professor Numero had his perception, Akio used against him, and then like everyone else with this wanting to gain a prince or wanting something else in their life, it's all misconceptions about each other, like, and what they see.
Let's talk about the duelists. I mentioned this before. Like, every single duelist has had something important in their memories. Like with Mokaba, it was the Onion Prince, and with Mickey, it was their sister, and they're all these. They all are the same, and that's how the memories are important. Utena, obvious in the same way because of the whole parents dying or whatever thing. So. What was I saying? I forgot already.
The duelist and how he wanted to talk about the duelists, how each one of them have somebody they wanted. It
probably had something to do with Mikage engineering the whole dueling games, having to do with memories and stuff like that, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, here's the thing I wrote down. How there's obvious parallels between Mikage and Utena. Besides the visual similarities.
Simple one. Obvious one is Mimiya. What was his name? Mamiya. And Anthy. He was, for whatever reason, Professor Nimuro was attached to... I always forget. Mamiya? Yeah, Mamiya. And yet again, it feels like he had to defend him and save him. Which Mommy is like, no, it's okay. I'm terminally ill. Like, let me go. And I really don't want to live forever. Like, it's okay. And then Utena and Anthy, like, Utena is always wanting to rescue Anthy from her situation. Which is like, yet again, we've started questioning, did Anthy want to be rescued from her situation? So that's one, that's a easy one. I don't know.
Even Mikage himself implants the idea in Utena's head that they are very much the same. And, let's see. Like, Mikage talks about holding on to your memories, and Utena's like, no, I'm not like you, and almost kills him.
Oh yeah, she's held on to her memories,
and even though she denies it, she does. Like that's the whole reason she's like that's how. Like I said, that's the reason every duelist fight is because of their memories. Let's see.
Do you think that's their downfall? Is not letting go?
Yeah, that to get what gives Akio his power is them not letting go, not being able to let go of their memories because that enables them to duel.
They hold on to what they.
That enables them to duel and also enables Akio to get closer to the power of Dios and eternity.
But Utena's greatest downfall, looking for her prince.
And the thing about this is just really weird. That's probably the reason why. That even though it's implied that Utena cannot let go of her memories, she doesn't really remember that very well.
Maybe that's an Akio thing. Maybe he's messing with her memories.
Yeah, maybe and maybe that could be another similarity between Mikage and Utena is that even though they think they're what they're remembering is their memories, it's not because Akio's messing with them. Altering the memories, like Monokuma. Anyway, and another thing...
Spoilers.
Well, it's all spoilers. Anyway, another really obvious similarity between Mikage and Utena is they both have pink hair. No. At the end of the story arc, Akio considers Mikage as graduated in that everyone's memories of Mikage is removed. They're gone. He disappears from Otori and from everyone's memories, just like Utena does at the very end of the whole series. You know?
Hang on a second.
What?
We skipped something.
What? We skip?
Sorry, it just dawned on me. Takiko comes back.
Yeah.
And visits.
And she's aged, and Mikage hasn't.
And she's aged, and Mikage hasn't. And she still gets with Akio.
And Tokiko also notices that Akio hasn't aged either. So she's pretty suspicious. And Tokiko has a family. She has a husband and children already. And I don't know. And also there's that weird secretary that Mikage has that shows up for one scene.
And weren't they, like, together?
I don't know. She says a bunch of weird crap.
And I'm like, is this important?
Like, again, it is important, very important. It's like, it probably parallels his relationship with Tokiko in some way. And, where did I put this? Anyway, the secretary is just something weird, probably just a parallel to Tokiko or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so anything else that are similar between Utena and Mikage?
Under
Like it's a foreshadowing of what's going to happen to Utena.
Oh, I would say another thing is, you know how like Professor Nimura, he's like, he works with Akio, but then he's like acts like he's not under Akio's power. Like,
yes.
Oh, we're not under that contract, or I'm gonna do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Utena's kind of the same thing towards Akio.
What do you mean?
I feel like later on, like Utena's like, I'm not playing your game, or nobody's bossing me around.
Even
like nobody's.
Her literally wearing that ring means she's part of the game.
Well, exactly, and Professor Nimuro plays into Akio's hands as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he ends up Professor Nimuro. That's another thing. Do we bring that up? Where in the first memory, you think that Mamiya is the one that burned down and killed all those hundreds of boys.
Yeah.
You revisit it, and it's actually Professor Nimuro that had done it.
Yeah.
He's the one, but I guess, how he perceived it, it was Mamiya that did it. Mm-hmm. And Takiko's like, you're insane. Why would you do
insane.
this?
I mean, it's not anyone who's looking for immortality is insane. So Tokiko's insane too.
And the only way, and how did they get eternity? How did they get immorality?
Immorality? Well, you see, they're all
killing
morally
100 boys.
bankrupt. What?
Killing 100 boys. Immortality. How did they get that?
I don't know. It's magic anime bullcrap. How?
Well, how I see it, the only way they could do it is by existing in those memories and never letting them go.
Yeah. But Akio destroys it.
Well, and then Akio just kind of rearranges it how he wants.
Yeah.
So essentially, everyone's memories are their downfall, and because they have not learned to let go.
You take advantage. That's what Akio's doing. Akio's taking advantage of everyone else's memories to get them to fight and get him closer
and
to achieving eternity.
It replays over and over and over again. It's like people that can't let go of the past, and they just
That's literally what happens here.
Literally what happens. They cannot let go of the past. I like that.
There's also some really silly fan theory about Tokiko and Mikage being Utena's parents.
Okay.
Anyway, one last question I have, which is, who is Mikage actually in love with?
Takiko.
But there are so many people saying that it's Mamiya he's in love with. And it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case, because this is Utena. There's a lot of weird relationships going on.
I think at first he was in love with Takiko.
I think he's in love with Tokiko also. But there's so many people saying he was in love with Mamiya. I think there was a
close relationship with Mamiya, and then later on when he becomes Mikage, he ends up falling in love with, or has an obsession with Mamiya, but it's because Anthony's playing as Mamiya.
And so Mikage's secretary says something. She says, the one I ended up falling in love with was just a boy. And I think maybe that could be a reference to, like, maybe the secretary actually is a reflection of Mikage. I don't know. I just hear so many weird fan theories about the person.
And you can
yeah, obviously.
To me, he was hurt by Takiko, ends up going after, like, Akio, is angry, and then he ends up wanting to be with Utena.
Who?
Mikage.
No, he doesn't.
Because
What are you talking about?
Well, he starts falling for Utena because he
thinks
sees her as Takiko, and that reinforced that he was in love with Takiko.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think.
And he can't even see Takiko because she's aged. He doesn't even know what she really actually looks like.
She wears like a big hat or something. I forget. Yeah, it's really weird. I don't. This episode, these 2 episodes, just messed with my head so hard, and I guess it's supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Because all this and you will never understand what this is about unless you finish the whole series.
Yes.
Because like the whole contracts with Akio, like when I first watched this, like I couldn't even really hear who the guy who Nemuro was talking to. I didn't know it was Akio when I first watched it. I didn't know it was Akio
I didn't
until
know that either.
because it's obviously his Akio's voice, but at first first of all, I wasn't very familiar with Akio's voice. Second of all, every time we watched it, we had to turn down the volume really low. So when I watched it again, I realized, oh, that's Akio, and they never show Akio's face whenever he's talking to Nemuro. So
yeah, y'all, if you watch the series once, watch it again.
Yeah, you have to. It's like with the Prestige, you gotta watch it again, and you'll notice everything,
and
all these weird things.
Actually, when I was randomly trying to find things about the Shadow Girls, there was actually, I would encourage you to go read, what was it, the 1998 December edition?
I know, November.
Of one of the Anime America or something.
Yeah.
And it talks about, actually, like, some of it comes from, like...
Yeah, it explains...
It stems from other...
That article in particular talked about the origin of the quote that Toga says every time.
From, like, Hemingway and...
the whole chick coming out of the egg or whatever.
Yeah.
And something about the god Abraxas, which is the name of that song that plays.
Oh, really?
Whenever they're in the elevator or whenever they go up to smoke.
I would say do some background research, which I should do. Go to
angelfire.com/Guardian or whatever. Go look up all the theories or whatever. Like, they're out there.
But I would actually I would be interested in reading what references it comes from. Like reading the actual quotes and stuff.
Yeah,
not just fan theories, but what the series stems from. I feel like you would get a better background.
Good luck finding all that stuff and compiling it together.
Okay, we could do it.
No, I don't want to do it. No, I don't want to do it.
I have summer. I have 3 months off.
You're a teacher. Why don't you assign your kids to research Utena for you?
I'm not going to assign little kids to do that.
Oh.
They'll cry.
Anyway.
They'll become bitter.
That's the end of the Black Rose Saga.
Yeah.
None of it made sense when I first watched it.
Watch it again.
And it made me mad. I almost stopped watching this series.
I know. You were so confused.
Because
I was like, keep watching.
I asked you, will they explain this? And you said no. And you should have said they kind of do. Because they do.
I didn't want to say, yes, they do.
You should have said,
when they
it'll
don't.
make sense when you finish the series.
Yeah.
Well, the conclusion I came up, because after this, I had to look up stuff. I tried really hard not to get spoiled for the rest of the series, but I just had to look up what any of this meant.
Look at you.
And
you have to be in the
my
know.
conclusion at the time was, none of it matters. That was my conclusion at the time. The only thing that mattered was Akio.
Look at JR.
None of that. So that was that.
Can't you just let go?
No, because I have to know.
Can't you just let go?
I'm a nerd. I'm not as nerdy as some people, but I'm a nerd. I have to know. I have to understand.
Let it go.
No.
Let it go.
You should have told me fish series and it'll make sense. You didn't say that.
Stop blaming me.
I'm blaming you for me
for your control.
It's your fault I watched this series in the first place. It is 100% your fault. It's your fault that we doing this podcast.
I know, exactly. Hello, world.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm hoping that we'll find another one, too. That'll get you just as insane.
We're going to finish this podcast first.
I know.
So next time we'll cover, what's the next saga? Shirtless. Is that the Shirtless Saga?
2 shirtless guys on top of a car.
What's next? Let me look at my other notes. Where's my phone? There are it's 2 more sagas left? Is that what it is? 2 or 3? This is great podcast material.
I know, right? Yeah! We're prepared! I'm never prepared, because I'm busy.
Utena. Type in Utena into Evernote. See what happens. Nothing happens.
Student Council. Black Rose Saga. Wait.
After Black Rose, there is the Akio Otori Saga, and then the Apocalypse Saga.
Okay.
Those are the 2 sagas left.
And
they both of them blend together to me. I didn't even know there were 2. It was supposed to be 2 different sagas.
Yeah. After that, I it kind of, yeah.
Like, it all blurs together for me.
Yep.
So the next one is, let's see, Utena versus Saionji 4 happens. I don't remember that. I'm going to have to rewatch all these episodes anyway. Hopefully we'll be able to do a podcast soon after I finish those, so I'll remember what my notes mean.
Let's do that.
We should have just done a panel of this, Akon. We just kill two birds with one stone. We can use our podcast as planning for a panel. And we can get other people's information, other people's views on this whole thing.
That would be amazing. I mean, I would rather do a panel like after our podcast, so yes.
Maybe if you go to A-Fest, we can submit a panel for Utena panel. With wrestling.
With wrestling. Utena.
Anyway, that's going to be it for the second podcast, I guess. Gosh, it took forever to do. Almost a month to do this one podcast.
Hey.
What?
I'm busy.
I know.
My calendar's full.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Summer's coming up.
Summer's coming up. You'll be able to hear more from us.
Maybe.
I need things to do.
I need it anyway. All right.
You need to plan your upcoming panel.
Okay. Sure. All right. Tune in next time for the Shirtless Guys podcast or whatever. Later. Say bye, Caitlin. Say that thing I told you to say.
Absolute Destiny Apocalypse.